welcome to another episode, broadcast, call it what you will, of GameGuru MAX, live broadcast number 51, that's right. We've done over 50 of these now and rocketing towards the 100 mark. I did a bit of a system rejig last week. I've managed to tuck all the wires away now, but I just want to make sure that everything is still working on the hardware side, not least of which is the microphone. So I am going to turn my attention to the chat to see if everybody can hear me. If you would like to stop talking about the football for 5 minutes. No, I'll keep talking about the football, it's all cool. So it sounds like you can hear me. Thank you, Synchro. Okay, great. Well, the format, as many of you probably know by now, is you get to ask some questions if you are joining us live. I won't answer them right away. I'll answer them towards the end because I want to show you a few things about the GameGuru MAX internal development, which is what this broadcast is all about. Me showing you things that we've been working on, and I want to put it in the build for Friday so you can play it yourself. So that's basically the setup. And without further ado, I'm going to launch the software and get straight into it. Now, as for the last couple of weeks, and it will continue for this Friday's build and next Friday's build, it is essentially mostly about assets. Now, that's not to say we're not working on functionality. It's just the functionality we're working on in the background is pretty big stuff. And so we can't really do it piecemeal. It has to be kind of all done before we can demonstrate the finished working thing. I won't reveal too much because, of course, that's going to be a little bit of a spoiler, and I'd rather just hit you with it once we've got something really cool to show. But what is it that I do have to show? Well, this is just the start of the list, as you can see, but I'll go through them one at a time, just so you know what I'm showing you. We'll start our journey off in the character creator. Ding-a-ding-a-ding. So what have we done to the character creator? Well, you may already be aware of the fact that we improved, you know, the little things, like you got the nice glossy eyeballs now, things like that. But what I want to show you is all the hair. We actually, we kept going iterating, round and round and round. Every time we did iteration, it got better and better. So we just thought we'd carry on. So now I'm going to show you all the new hairstyles. The styles are the same, but we've improved the shader and the rendering and the texturing and all the clever stuff. So this was the one you saw before, parting dirt, but now I've got some additional colours. So you can actually have a nice grey in that style. You can also have the swept back look. And as I say, it's really nice hair now. You've got the reflections going on when the hair requires it. Really great alpha going on. Let me just show you another style quickly. We've got cropped blonde. And we've got sort of a nice Viking blonde as well. So we've got blonde, so there you go. And the ones that we were working on most recently was the female hairstyles, which didn't really come out as good as the male originally, which is why we thought, well, let's do another round. So now we've got a nice ponytail one. I'll show you the braids, which is certainly much braids with purple colour, so you got a nice little thing. So you can actually see you got that really nice alpha going on. You don't have the problems of sort of seeing too much of the skull through, which is what we got before. Wavy, I rather like wavy. This is really thick, full-bodied one. You can see we've got the nice shine going on with the hair now, and it works really well with the rendering and back to front and all that clever stuff. And of course we got punk, so I like, the best of these I think I like punk blonde. Let's look at that, isn't that really nice? The way that works. And so the last thing, you've probably already noticed it, but I just wanted to call your attention to it if you've not already seen it. Let's just change it to the latest makeup, is there isn't any shadow artifacts anymore. You noticed? Used to get a bit of a weird self-shadowing on the nose and sometimes around the eyebrows. All gone. Still have shadows, you know, you see the shadow of the head casting on the floor and on the shoulder. We just eliminated the self-shadowing for the bits that really look bad. And so that's us complete for the moment. We're pretty much happy now with our models, our textures, the shading approaches, and all the things that go into the visuals of our character creator characters. with, you know, I would say the cherry on top, but it is on top, is of course the hairstyles, which we're now very, very happy with. So the other thing I'd like to show you, still related to assets, are the new asset collections that we've put in on this Friday's build. You'd be surprised just how many assets we're pouring into the build, but as we add them, we realise we kind of need them if we're going to do all these different terrain styles, which I'll be able to talk about in the future. But just to give you a bit of a glimpse of one of the terrain styles, and we're sort of going to augment, is the Arctic collection. So look at these things. Look at that. Really nice, high resolution rocks with snow on them, and you have a lot to choose from. You've got these, you've got these stranger shapes, if you want to create something a little bit more alien or eroded, like so. So you've got that. And these are all, you say, natural formations, but if you keep looking, you've got some man-made structures. So a ruin that's been built 10,000 years ago and then has been since abandoned and then covered in snow for you to discover in one of your game ideas. And of course this continues. We've got some nice plinths. I think there's, yeah, there you go. Nice staircase leading up to some mysterious thing. So you've got a nice Arctic collection. You've got other collections as well. We've got some extra trees. Currently they're in their own folder, but I'll be adding them to the tree collection. They're all different varieties and breeds, so it's a nice big tree there. Show you a completely different one, which is this. You'd find that more in the tropical situation, and a bigger one like that. And you have, but they're all properly named, so you could look them up, all the different species. But I just wanted to show you, just for visual impact right now. I can't really rattle off all the different things that these trees are. Suffice it to say, we needed lots of different tree species for all the different kinds of terrains we needed to populate. So, you know, tropical, Arctic, all the kinds of things, different parts of the world, all had different kinds of trees, and we needed them, which explains why you see all these trees all of a sudden. So those will be added to the tree collection. We also have a fence collection. Everyone needs fences, but fences of all the different materials you might want. So we've got wood, we've got stone, we've got these big concrete things. So basically stone and wire fence if you wanted a proper sort of compound. It goes on to full-on metal and shiny stainless steel, more rocked ones. I won't place a lot of them down, it would take forever, but we've got this one, which is a nice wooden fence sort of thing going on. And you get the idea. It's basically full-on fence all the way to completely destroyed fence in lots of different materials, so you get to decide what you want to make and what you want to compound off. But you can never have enough fences. That's my philosophy. There's a nice wooden one there. We'll just put that in front of the tree. And finally, there's one more. There it is, the military collection. One of my favourites. This barrel looks absolutely amazing. So this shows you the kind of quality you're going to get with the military collection, and that quality just carries on all the way through. Lots of different things you'd find in a military compartment, both outside and inside. Here's a big bunk bed. So there's different kinds of interior furniture. Your absolutely required large crate, your military ammo boxes and other crate machineries. Additional walls which are sort of more themed. So you've got your basically wire-topped barbed wire fences. But what I want to get to, obviously the things you'd expect to hide behind those if you're being shot at. Great for when we work on and showing you the gameplay. So you want to hide. This is an actual working tent, so you can run inside it and full collision. But this is the one I've been waiting to show you. Watchtower. So got a watchtower, and we got another watchtower here, and we got a third watchtower. You can't get enough watchtowers, like so. And then if I just press test game, the best thing I like about the watchtower, of course, is I can run up it. It's a working watchtower. La 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 la. As you can see, get your quality. You can go inside, so maybe you could populate this with some military stuff. If I was really smart, I could jump over to that one, but I'm not going to. What I'm going to do is maybe jump on the floor, straight through here. As you can see, all working, proper collisions, etc., etc. So, I wouldn't say we're getting to the end of adding assets. We have added a lot, and I think there'll be plenty for you to get stuck into in terms of a starter kit. In order to create all the game ideas you might have, at least with the assets that we've got. We've not finished, there's a few more asset collections we're going to add, some for our own purposes, others just to sort of fill in some gaps where we feel they might be missing. But that certainly gives you an idea of all of the assets that you're going to be able to play with this Friday. I was going to show you some other bits and pieces relating to object selections and slight tweaks and improvements to the object management system, but I'm going to keep that powder dry and show you next Friday. It may even be in this Friday's build, but I'll give you a proper tour of the little things, but I think they're important things in terms of just helping you move and manage objects around the scene a little more conveniently. So maybe that deserves its own little 5 minutes of wittering from me. So that's it for wanting to show you in the software. Now I'm going to drag across the chat window just to see if there's any worthy questions or non-worthy questions for me. Of course, we're going to hope that these are the questions from this live chat and not from my live chat 3 weeks ago. For any idea what I'm talking about there, please refer to broadcast 4, broadcasts ago. So I'm looking for a question mark. But I didn't remind you that you need to put question marks in, so I'll be a bit more courteous and try and find the questions. Skipping past subjects of football and beer. Here's one. Looks like we have a question. Terra Game Z, hey Lee, why can't I get this enhanced weapons pack to work properly on GG Max? I get it all wonky. There is no enhanced weapons pack for GameGuru MAX. There is one for GameGuru Classic, which works absolutely fine. We are, however, working internally on making sure that the lots of the legacy stuff moves to Max smoothly, including the old DLCs. But there will be some differences as we improve the new systems in Max. So there's no guarantee at this stage that you'll be able to completely perfectly bring in everything from the old GameGuru Classic to Max, and it sounds like you've hit one of the those snags with the enhanced weapons pack, but we are looking at that specifically because it is such a nice pack, so we are going to be playing around making sure that that moves across okay. Yeah, that's true, and I have to comment on that. I am a rugby league rather than a football. But only slightly. Who's got time to sit there for 2 hours watching a ball moving about when there's programming to be done? So looking for another question. Here's one from LM. In GameGuru MAX, the object must be animated, or it allowed to import object with no animations. Is that a statement? Yeah, you can import an object that's static, you can import an object that's animating. If it's animating, you can control and manage the animation slots and give them names. So definitely check out the importer. You'll find the importer by going to Add and then selecting More Objects and then select Import Model, or you can hold down Control and I to give you a shortcut straight into the model importer. Looking for another question. This one is from Nomad Soul. Is there any news to report on the Mystery P? No, the Mystery P remains a mystery. Some people have already figured it out in private and emailed me private. I have not confirmed or denied. All I can say is some of the guesses were correct. But it shouldn't be too much longer now before we can reveal it. I just hope we haven't built it up too big into this massive 75 feet tall stone P. Okay, Fearless Wee says the hair in Max looks great. Thank you very much. I completely agree. I actually think it's some of the best hair in modern games. Obviously, there's better ones out there with cloth physics and her moving around and being dynamic and everything. But in terms of rigged hair, that's actually part of the animation system. It renders really, really well, and it complements the characters perfectly. Here's another question. This is from Alexander P. Will there be a creation maker in GameGuru MAX? No. No, that's a big job, creating 3D modeler and a 3D animator and a weapons maker and a buildings maker in GameGuru MAX. I mean, these are the preserves of entirely different tools. And so what we've decided to do is focus on the game engine and the logic and the stuff that you need to make a game. When it comes to like creating assets and animating them and bringing them in, we will help you with the import stuff with a model importer that we're going to improve all the time, but we're not going to try and reinvent the wheel. We're not trying to create whole generation things inside GameGuru MAX if there is a better solution outside of GameGuru MAX. That means a relatively small team can focus on the things they do best rather than have to stretch themselves thin trying to be all things to all people. Because we tried that with Classic over 5 years ago, it didn't really work. Trying to create modules for literally everything. So with Max, we're taking a more focused approach and relying on those better tools out there to bring in the finished asset, and then we'll be able to detect them, import them, and get them game ready for GameGuru MAX game levels. So looking for a question, and I'm running right towards the end of the chat. We've never got this close to the end of the chat. And looking at the clock, only 1 minute over my prescribed 15 minutes. LM says, very impressive, thanks very much. Cyber Science? Or Cybernescence? Of course it's Cybernescence, what am I talking about? Long time no here. Will there be a UI panel that lists all the entities in the scene, not types, all added entities that also allow the editor's camera to go to choose and click an entity? You're talking like a scene graph, a nested tree of every single instance of every object in your level. I've seen it in other editors. We have not planned to put that in this one because it'd just be a massive list. So please in the forums, because after this broadcast I'm going to put a recording and answer any questions I can't get to in the GameGuru forums later on. If you could follow on with that request and describe why it's needed and why without that there will be difficulties in you doing what you want to do with your levels. Just to get me some clarity on, is it just something like only 1% of people would ever use? Or is it something that's kind of going to be critical when you start getting to create larger levels, etc., things like that? So we'll carry that conversation on in the forums. I'll look forward to that. Here's a new question. This is weapon importing any easier? Any easier than GameGuru Classic? It will be, because we're providing actual raw template files, almost like a starter weapon, which you can import into your favorite 3D modeler and animator and view it and play around with it and see how it's all pulled together. But more important than that, we're going to provide a guide that any artist of reasonable skill and technical competence could read through and know what they need to produce, what files, what textures, where to place them, how to set up the weapon, so that when you find that weapon in your object library and drop it into your game, it actually works. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to provide documentation, basically. But there is not going to be a weapons maker inside GameGuru MAX. So hopefully that's not something you was really looking forward to and was a deal breaker. Here's a question from Fearless Wee. Wicked Engine showed off a lot of improvements recently, especially the clouds. Any plans to integrate some of those features? I would so like to, yes. I especially like the clouds as well. They've really gone to that next level when it comes to integrating proper volumetric clouds across the different, the full pipeline of Wicked Engine. And I also like the improvements to the water as well. Not as drastic as the sky, but I like both of them. Wouldn't it be great if we could get that in? We have some of our own merging stuff to do at the moment with the Wicked Engine, and we actually have a lot of our own stuff and custom shaders integrated, so it's not as simple as just pressing the button and doing a merge. We need to make sure that we don't break everything in the process of that merge, but it is on my internal list. Why not take advantage of the very latest that Wicked Engine has been delivering over the last 3-4 months? So it's definitely on my radar to see, let's try it out. Let's merge the latest one, see if it breaks a lot or it just breaks a little. But it's definitely going to be worth it if we get access to those much nicer volumetric clouds. So I'm looking at the clock. We've just hit the 20-minute mark, as is my custom. I'll pick out 2 questions, if there are any more questions, and then the rest I'll have to answer in the forums later on. Who will win tonight? England, Denmark. Paul, 30 votes. Looks like we are going to win. When I say we, I don't say we because I'm currently in Wales and I'm attached to England. So it counts. Do I agree? I don't know. I don't really know form. All I know is England are still in it, and it's a good sign. But I also know Denmark are a very, very good team. So we'll see. And that was one of your questions, by the way. The next question, the last question. In GameGuru MAX, will you be able to change the window name and icon? The window as in when you've done your save standalone and you've got a game and you run that executable. Well, there won't really be a window. You'll go straight to full screen and you'll actually see your title screen, and then you go in and you play your game in full screen. But yes, you will be able to change the icon. So the icon of the standalone executable that you can share or sell. You will definitely want to be able to not only change the icon, but all of the resource data, such as version and author and publisher and all that other cool stuff. That's part of the executable, and you will be able to change that. So any other questions that you've got, I will do in the forums. So thanks very much for all of your questions. The forum, currently looking at the live chat, there'd only be like one answer in it. But you do have until the end of me gurgling on to ask any more questions. So, as always, I do these broadcasts every Wednesday at 4 PM GMT. So I'll be doing one next week. But before I go, I just want to remind everybody that you'll be able to get these builds every Friday if you're a pre-order user. And if you're not a pre-order user, we're currently doing a discount which knocks 25% off. And as a thank you for helping us fund the development as we continue to develop GameGuru MAX. And as a thank you, we give you access to those builds every Friday. So everything that you see on Wednesday, you get to play with on Friday, which in this case is lots and lots of lovely Arctic and military assets. So until next Wednesday, I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did. And I'll speak to you all next week. Goodbye.